Shalom, beloved family. It's your girl Sophia Spiritualite, and we're here for our daily prayer and reading. Of course, we meet every day to say a prayer, read a psalm, and then do a three-card reading just to see what messages we can divine from the Most High and from the angels. So, without further ado, all praise, glory, and honor be to the Most High, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the great I Am, loving kindness, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, David, Enoch, Moses, Noah, and Solomon. We thank you for another day to labor in the vineyard. We ask for permission to speak with the angels for just a few minutes so that we can divine a message that will allow us to be of better service to you and to the kingdom. To the Holy Mother, we thank you for being with us, we thank you for guiding us, and we thank you for walking with us down the path of life. We acknowledge our older, wiser brother Yahweh and the perfect example he set of how to both climb the tree of life and conquer the tree of death. And to the angels, to our personal guardian angels, to the archangels, to the council of 9, to the council of 12, to the council of 24, to the 24 elders, to the 42 letter name of the Most High, to the 72 letter name of the Most High, to the council of the 144,000, to the 216 angels that sit atop the tree of life, and to all the angels whose names we know and the ones whose names we do not know. We ask that you come and be with us for just a few minutes. Give us a message that will allow us to be of better service to the Most High and to the kingdom. When we enter herein with all humility, let God the Almighty One enter into this place by the entrance of an eternal happiness, of a divine prosperity, of a perfect joy, of an abundant charity, and of an eternal salutation. Let all the demons fly from this place, especially those who are opposed unto this work, and let the angels of peace assist and protect this place, from which let discord and strife fly and depart. Magnify and extend upon us, O Lord, thy most holy name, and bless our conversation and our assembly. Sanctify, O Lord our God, our humble entry herein, thou, the blessed and holy one of the eternal ages. Selah. All right, so let's read Psalm 16. Probably just alternate. Preserve me, O God, for in thee do I put my trust. O my soul, thou hast said unto the Lord, Thou art my Lord. My goodness extendeth not to thee, but to the saints that are in the earth, and to the excellent, in whom is all my delight. Their sorrow shall be multiplied that hasten after another God. Their drink offerings of blood will I not offer, nor take up their names into my lips. The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance, and of my cup. Thou maintainest my lot. The lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have got goodly heritage. I will bless the Lord who hath given me counsel. My reins also instruct me in the night seasons. I have set the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. Therefore, my heart is glad, my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope. For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine holy one to see corruption. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Selah. All right, so we have our deck here. Of course, this is just our regular daytime deck. This is a Tarot of Light. I do have this on my website if you're interested. Apparently, there might be something wrong with my website, so I'm going to go take a look and see what's going on. But we just want to see what message we can get from the angels, from the Most High, about what we can expect for today. It's there one card just fell out, so I'll just pick that up in a second. We want to see what is important for us to keep in mind today, what will allow us to be successful. Good Lord. Okay, there's another one. That's two. What will allow us to be successful and what will bring about the most useful information for us to really do the will of the Most High in the way that it needs to be done. Oh, there we go. There's a third one. All right. All right. So let's see what we have here. The first card we got is the Ten of Angels, which is surrender. And this would have been yesterday. So I definitely had the energy of there's no more that I can do. There's nothing else I can say. You know, everything that I can do, I've done. I just have to surrender to the will of the Most High and wait it out. And next card, this would refer to today, which is the Lovers, and it says ecstasy. I remember yesterday we got the abundance card for today, so we'll see how that goes together. And then, of course, the lovely page of angels, which is mysticism. So we are back into our routine of two of one kind of card and then something a little different. Plus, we got a major arcana card. So today's hopefully going to be a significantly good day. Lord knows I need it. Yesterday was really tough. It's just like the energy is so heavy. So I'm looking forward to a hopefully a better day. So 10 of angels, of course, 10, Michael is in the midst. And it says surrender. Things aren't always what they seem. A difficult situation is a blessing in disguise. The Ten of Angels points to an unexpected situation. The effort of pushing against something unwanted has left you exhausted. That's the truth. Give up control so that healing can begin and something new can be birthed. 10 is a number of suspension. It offers you space to clean up and heal any ideas or beliefs that knock you from your center of love. The past has outgrown its usefulness, and yet you keep implementing the same familiar ways. This has or will lead to a dramatic end. There is strength in surrender. It does not need to be so dramatic. Experience is the greatest teacher. And this correlates with the Ten of Swords, which is ruin, desolation, misfortune, and grief. And of course, the hardest part of this is why I think I said this yesterday or the day before, but if you're an earth sign, the hardest part of anything is to wait, because the number one cosmic rule that's more important above all is, to preserve yourself. Self-preservation is your number one rule. So if self-preservation is number one and what you're literally doing when you're waiting is ignoring your self-preservation, is very, very difficult. But I think maybe there's a difference between self preservation and surrender, meaning maybe surrender is less dramatic than um, giving up your self preservation. And, it almost seems like if it's not a life or death thing, it's worthwhile to wait and see what the Most High has in store, as opposed to superimposing your thoughts and ideas and feelings on top of something. So, meaning maybe self preservation is literally what keeps you alive, what will elongate your life. And when you surrender, it's more like, okay, I've done all that I can do in my pursuit of self preservation, and now I have to leave some space for the Most High to act. And the interesting thing about that is, if that is the case, then it's almost like when we're given this sign, or like me, I said I was going to essentially do like 2 Sabbaths a week, right? Because anyway, without going in, this video is going to be long. So basically, it seemed to me, first of all, I was born on Wednesday, so I'm always going to take my day as a day of rest if I can. And so it seems to me that if Sabbath is also Shabbatai, which it's that's what it's literally named after, then that should also be a day of rest. So I'm not saying not to rest on Shabbatai, but look at the day that you were born to and take that as um, a day of rest as well. So in the middle of the week, you get a day. Unless you're born on Shabbatai, then may take another day, which I would take Wednesday. Would make sense to me because it's the middle of the week. And then you have your Shabbatai, you take that too, and you rest. But resting and reading, especially if you're doing it every day, your day of rest may be like you need to go out and be out amongst the Air Kadeshi and the other angels and stuff like that, not just sitting in the house. It just depends, and I think it's a very personal thing. So I said all that to say that for me yesterday, it was definitely a day of surrender. There's nothing else that I can do. I've done just about everything that I can do in almost all the situations that I'm dealing with right now. And now I just have to sit back and wait for, the next move to be revealed to me so that I can take it. And there's no point in forcing this next move or being stressed out about it, because it's not going to make anything better. It probably will only make everything worse if I try and rush it, as opposed to, just letting it be the way that it is. And so it feels stressful, but at the same time, I'm trying to not let it be stressful. So surrender, I think, is one of those things that it's right up there with all other kinds of waiting. Anything where there's no action that you can personally take to make something happen is going to be, a certain level of stress is going to be there. And so, we have to just figure out how to manage that, which is why we have these cards. The angels of the tarot are really, very, very helpful and very, very good at communicating these types of things. And I think it is helpful just to know that it's not unnormal, um, or abnormal or unnatural to sometimes have to wait, because even the angels have to wait. They have to wait for the zodiac to be in a certain sign. When Saturn is in retrograde, there's a lot of things that you just can't do. Saturn's in retrograde. And the same thing with Jupiter. When Jupiter's in retrograde, there's a lot of things I'm sure she wants to do, but she's in a holding position too. So just like the planets have holding positions, except for the sun and the moon, we also have, and that's not even true, because the what is that? The solstice, the sun does hold its position for a little bit extra longer. That's why we have that whole portal being open. So even the sun and the moon are there, they just don't go backwards, but they are also, forced to stand still. And so it's not just us that has to do that. We have to understand, or maybe look into what season of life we're in. So if it's, the fall season of life for people, because we're actually in fall, then that's really, you might not be able to get as much actual action done as you want, because the kind of action that has to be done is planting. You have to be planting, you have to be planning in the fall season. You have to be working out how you're going to make it for the rest of the year, into the winter. All that kind of stuff is really a planning season. And then, once you get into the winter opening, then that's a time when you actually have to, hunker down. And that's when you can do a lot of your deep study, fasting and stuff like that, because it's the winter season. And then right after that, you have spring. Spring is a lot of activity. That's when you go out and you start reaping your harvest. And maybe you have to do another session of planting, because you have a fall planting usually, and then you have a spring planting, because everything doesn't grow at the same rate, so on and so forth. And then in the summer, that's heavy into harvest. So that's a lot of work. Not much planning time can happen in the fall, in the summer, because you have so much actual physical work to do. So if we look at the way that nature actually operates, that will help us understand how we should operate. Even if your birthday is at a different point, I mean, pretty much, and this fall season, you should be planning out your year. You know what I mean? And so that you can make the most of it, because that's the window that's open right now. So surrender feels like it could be stressful, but if you look at the season that you're in, you can also take that surrender, and because you're surrendering to stuff that you're trying to force, when there's stuff that you could be doing that isn't forced, because it's the time for that. So now it's the time for planting and all of that. So maybe me trying to plan out courses to start in the fall was probably not the best idea. That's the kind of thing that should start in the spring. So now, having that information, I can go back, rework all of my stuff, and say, okay, I may have offered this as a preview in the fall, but we're going to really offer it for serious in the spring, because that's the time when you would be start to present new projects. That's when new birth comes about. So I will go back and reassess. And another thing is, like, you always have to be comfortable with reassessing. There's no reason to be like, oh man, this didn't work out the way that I wanted to, and I was a failure, and this and that. That's not what it is. It's just that no one is teaching us this. The angels are initiating us from minute to minute as we go. And so sometimes the messages get confused. So maybe I, misunderstood the message of put these classes out now, whereas the message really should have been plan these classes now and then put them out at X, Y, and Z. Because, like, when the angels give me stuff to do, I can never tell whether it's a do it right now, or whether it's a go into planning right now. You know what I mean? It's real. The time, understanding the timing with the angels is really turning into be very difficult, because like for example, our guardian angels are from Mercury, right? So really what I need to do is look at the Mercury rotation for timing as opposed to the earth rotation, because they come from Mercury. They don't understand the earth rotation. So this is why I said, like yesterday, the angels may not understand what earth time is like, because earth time is weird. It's not like any other time. The only beings who probably understand earth time are on the earth zone, but they're not even from earth, they're from Chokma. So when you just try to figure out like how to time something, that's what you have to look at. Plus you got to look at what their influence is. So if you have okay, so for example, the zodiac influences, intelligences are from Jupiter. So Jupiter's days are 10 hour. They have 10-hour days. So when you're trying to time something with a zodiac influence, which I do not recommend contacting them first. I haven't even gotten to Jupiter. I'm now getting ready to work my way backwards up. You're supposed to start with the area that's closest to you and then move your way up. So if you're thinking about like, oh, I'm going to contact the zodiac, that should be like at the bottom of your list. Like you have something you need to contact them about. It's almost like, what are you going to talk? If you have to contact the Most High, what are you going to say? You know what I mean? That type of thing. So as an aside from that, it's like, that's the feeling that I'm getting, because I've been trying to figure this out, because for whatever reason the timing on everything is like weird, and it ends up being the right time, of course, but sometimes things when you are trying to decipher how long something is going to take from one of the angels, you got to be speaking their timing, or you got to figure out how to communicate with them your time. So I thought, okay, well, what if I talk about it in the sense of moon mansions? But then I realized that they don't really, they don't necessarily, depending on who you're talking to, they don't necessarily interface with them on the same rate that we do. So it's almost like you gotta like literally talk to them on the time that they understand, and so that you are becoming more like them, especially if you want to know like when something is going to happen. Like that's just very, they don't communicate in our time, we don't communicate in their time, and there's no like universal time, because every planet rotates at a different speed, and then we're speeding through the universe at a totally different speed. So you have a lot of different factors going on. So what I'm going to try is, to communicate in a time that they understand. So if their rotation is X, Y, and Z, or they go into retrograde at a certain point, you can say, oh, well, this happened before you go into retrograde. Because when the planet is in retrograde, I'm sure that puts a limit on what they can do. So meanwhile, you're asking, Zedekiel to do certain things, so so on and so forth. Well, if Zedekiel's in retrograde, that's maybe a little bit different. So maybe it's more beneficial to try. This is why I said to try and get affiliated with the moon mansions, because they have a specific schedule. So their schedule is one that aligns very close with our schedule. It's 28 days, 28 days, 28 days. So you can get onto that lunar schedule and really function like that if you're dealing with the moon intelligences, because you can ask one moon intelligence, can something be done by this moon intelligence, and you can, that's a way that you can communicate. But if you're just trying to ask your guardian angel who lives on Mercury about something, well, they live on Mercury, but they're ruled by Jupiter, and so that's a total, you just got a bunch of stuff going on right there. So you may have to figure out, okay, what is one day in Mercury in Earth days, and then you have to ask them, in your days, can we do X, Y, and Z? Can I accomplish X, Y, and Z? And then it's almost like it's not even worthwhile to figure out how to communicate time with them, except then you go into this point where you have to surrender, because you don't know their time, they don't know your time. You're trying, all they know is you got this portal that opens at 1, 9, 1, 6, 1 a.m., 6 a.m., 1 p.m., and 8 p.m. You got those portals that open. That's all. And then if you, like I said, if you set up a time, okay, I'm going to meet you in the hour of my birth, then you have that portal that opens at not what like me, I'm born at 9 a.m. and another portal that opens at 9 p.m. And so, again, all these things, I can't believe this is 20 minutes in on the first card. I knew this was going to happen. So, the point of the matter is, I just wanted to communicate that because I've been thinking about it, trying to come up with some kind of solution because women, we like to know time. Like, even if we're going to be late, I still need to know what time it is. All right? Let's go on to the next card, which is 6. Oh, my goodness. The Lovers. Okay, ecstasy. So we have a 10 and we have a 6. And so that's 16, which is 7, just so if anyone's keeping track. All right. A union with another gives you freedom to be who you truly are. Embrace all aspects of yourself and liberate your spirit of love. The Lovers affirms that you are ready to feel love in all its splendid forms. The reflection of another will inspire you to welcome, acknowledge, and love the sum total of yourself. A new romantic or sexual relationship is imminent or may have already arrived in your life. This card may also indicate the deepening of an existing relationship that makes it feel renewed. If you do not have a partner, this card sees you embracing and accepting more of yourself. It is time to love yourself more fully so that you can love and be loved more completely. And this correlates with the Lover's card, which is attraction, love, yearning, and trials overcome. So in conjunction with the card we got yesterday, which was the abundance card, Ace of Trees, abundance card, it seems like, I mean, the trials are going to be overcome with the abundance of love and whatever that's coming in. So hopefully this is, something that we will actually physically start to see today. I know that so far, we're still early in the day, but this is definitely a much better day for me than it was yesterday. And so, this whole thing about loving yourself more fully, when you have to surrender, that doesn't mean you love yourself any less. It just means that you know what your limitations are, and then you have to leave a space for the Most High to operate. That's why I'm starting to refer to this as divining, because to be honest, I don't know what I'm saying. I just know that, when I start talking, the words come out and connections are made and I'm able to communicate to you. So it's not like something that I have, like, sometimes I do have stuff like, oh, I need to say this, I need to say that. But most of the time I'm like, whatever comes in is what's going to come out of my mouth. And so you have to love that energy in your own life. So when you are doing something, for the Most High, whatever, and just the words start to vomit out of your mouth, you can't be like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said that. You have to be like, yeah, that's what the Most High needed you to hear. And since I'm the only vessel around, you're going to hear it from me. You know what I mean? And so it's just one of those things that's uh it's different, it's very, very different. So let's look at the page of angels. Um, all right. So the page of angels says mysticism. The caterpillar naturally evolves into the butterfly. What is your natural successor? The page of angels pulls the energy of transformation towards you. Expand your mind to new thoughts and solutions. Learn something new, have fun, and test out the truth of your ideas. You are filled with creative innovation. A plan will be brought to fruition, but right now it is time to adapt and consider a change of mind regarding the conditions around you to ensure a smooth path. Be aware of your thoughts, motivations, and intentions. Change any opinions that make you feel uncomfortable. Choose to use the words that are aligned to the outcome you desire and focus on them. Transformation will come through mindfulness. And this correlates with the page of swords, which is vigilance, caution, agility, or an active youth. So I know for me personally, like, I have recently reconsidered some of my more aggressive positions on things, meaning I wanted to handle something very, very aggressively. Um, And that is why I feel like certain things were taking longer, because I had intended to be very, very aggressive with this stuff. And recently, I would say like within the last day or two, I realized that that would also be the, especially after hearing the brother talk about the little sigil, I realized that that would be the most difficult path to take. And so I have now reconsidered that and said, okay, so instead of taking this extremely difficult path, um, I would prefer to take a more reasonable path. Meaning, okay, so like one of the problems I'm having is that like this place where I'm staying, the landlord is not, they're not doing anything. Like so much broke stuff around here makes me very, very angry. And so for weeks I just kept saying, man, I'm going to get out of this place. I don't care. I gotta go, this and that. And that was a very aggressive way of handling the situation, because I don't have that much time left on my lease. I know I'm going to be moving somewhere else anyway. It would just be a very aggressive way to handle it. So I would say, like, literally in the last 2 days, I said, okay, if I'm going to handle the situation in this aggressive manner, it's going to be very, very stressful. So instead of being aggressive about this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stay here until this lease is up. But as soon as, a few certain things happen, then I'm going to complain every single day until the stuff that's broke in this house gets fixed, because the whoever is going to move in here next, I don't want to leave them everything broke. I feel uncomfortable with that. You know what I mean? And so because like when I moved out of my townhouse, because we sold it or whatever, I made sure that it was livable. I had problems with it, but we did not leave that place in the same way that we found it when we purchased it, because I personally felt very uncomfortable with that, because I knew that somebody was going to come in there. They were going to have this, they were going to have that, kids or whatever. I didn't want them to come in and immediately face the same problems that I faced. So we took care of a lot of stuff before we left. I mean, a lot of stuff. We had painted, put new floors, fixed certain things. A lot of stuff was taken care of before we left. Not everything, but a good majority of it. So whoever bought it, they might have had to put in new carpet upstairs, but we even cleaned the carpet. The carpet was really, really clean, sanitized, all of that. New light switches. We had left like a broom, trash bags, just stuff you would need. Cause when we moved into that townhouse, it was nothing in there. And then it was a huge mess, and it was a huge problem. Like as soon as we moved in, it was a bunch of problems. But like I said, when we moved out, I had left it in a way that someone could move in. It was move-in ready. It's beautiful. And you could move in and you would be, comfortable with the place. Now the community, that's not my problem. You're going to have to deal with the neighbors. That's why I left. But the actual house itself was we left it in the best shape that we could, all things being considered. Especially considering how we got it. We left it in much better condition than how we got it. So when I have to leave this place that I'm in right now, which is going to be sooner than later anyway. I don't want to leave it so that because this company, they don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't do anything they're supposed to do except for harass you about late payments. They can do that just fine, but everything else they don't do. So I recently decided that in my heart I wasn't going to leave this place the way that it was given to me, because it was filthy. They didn't have nobody clean it. It was, everything was dirty. If this place was dirty, it took like 2 or 3 days of just cleaning to get it clean, because if you don't know anything about houses in Florida, a lot of them are big. And so like you really supposed to have somebody come in and actually clean that's familiar with these kind of houses. And this particular company, they didn't do it. They didn't have anybody come in. You could tell they didn't, and it was a big giant mess. It was just, they may have done the floors, but that was it. There's cobwebs in the corners. All of the fans and stuff was dirty. The floor was filthy. stuff was dirty. It was like somebody did a quick clean, but they didn't do what they tell you that they say they're going to do when you come in, right? So I say all that to say I literally recently had this change of heart. I would say in the last 2 days where I said, it would make much more sense for me to just leave this place nicer than how I found it, because that's it. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to pay for it, but what I'm saying is I'm going to get on them to make them do it. This is their job. They, charge the homeowner all of this money to do this stuff, and then they don't do what they're supposed to do. That's unacceptable for me, you know. So I just recently decided this. So maybe you have something like that, that it's as you evolve, because as we evolve from our self, who we are, into the angel realm and into the archangel realm, you have to leave your job, the job that you occupy here, better than you left it. And so if I'm able to leave everything better than when I left it, then I feel like that will help my evolutionary process. And so it may be something as simple as that, or like if you still have to work or whatever, you can say, okay, well, when I leave this job, I'm going to make sure that people know how to do it. Because, like, for example, in the government, when people leave their jobs in the government, they won't tell anybody how to do it. And so whoever the director is has to spend like 3 weeks trying, or longer than that, trying to it's always our people who look like us. They'll leave the job, they won't tell anybody how they did it, they don't tell anybody what they did. That's why Office Space was always such a hilarious movie to me, because they had this guy, with the red stapler. That remind me just like a government worker. Like, they're getting paid, they don't know what they're doing, no one knows what they're doing, but whatever it is quite important, because they just, this is just what kind of happens. And so you just have to, in your mind, know that you want to leave your position, you want to leave your ancestors, your children's children, a better situation than what you came in with. So since our ancestors, they left us stuff, but it was all hidden, I want to leave my ancestors stuff that they can find. Like, it's not going to be super complicated. So that's going to take some discipline on my part with my children, getting them, to accept this spiritual type of stuff, and getting them acclimated and stuff to it. And then their children, explaining to them the importance of teaching this stuff to their children, even if it's just, a few things, putting stuff together in a handmade book or whatever for each one to pass down, whatever. So even if it doesn't appeal to them, it may not appeal to their children's children. It may not appeal to their children's children, but somewhere in that fifth, sixth generation, somebody will be like, oh, I'm interested in this stuff. Maybe I can find something that, my great grandmother did, so that I can be, I can have that connection. So it's kind of like that, and it is kind of a mystic sort of thing, because you never know. It's like you're how did the gentleman describe it? He said that image came to him from 78 years in the future. So you can leave something for your ancestors. I mean, 78 years is not really that far, but that could be like something that his daughters, his granddaughter said, oh, we need to have that now. We need to send that back to my grandfather so that he can do it like this. You never know what kind of stuff is. So just like when you reconnect your ancestors' DNA, like, you're going into the past and giving them some closure to stuff that they never had. So the more you are able to do that, for your ancestors, the better it is. So, like, I'm thinking, what I will do for my ancestors on the first, which is ironically the day that my oldest daughter was born, is that I will do a karma cleanse that day. And when I do my karma cleanse, I will ask for my ancestors' DNA to be reconnected by name. So we have a family tree. I'm going to get my mom to send it to me. And so I'll just read off their names. Can you reconnect this ancestor's DNA? Reconnect that one. And just literally instead of saying in a general form, like I will go into specifics. And that's me, the great, sometimes great granddaughter, reaching into the past and reconnecting the DNA of my ancestors in the past. I mean, that could be have huge significance, huge impact, because I don't know at what position in the past this reconnection is going to show up and happen, but it's going to show up and happen at some point. And so that's another way that we can think about it. And so, it is a very mystic type of thing, but it's also, you know, it could solve a lot of problems. And I feel like ever since I went back and reconnected my ancestors' DNA, our and whoever else has done that particular part of our karma cleanse has really. Now I know that there's some other brothers who are doing it in a different way, so I'm not just saying it's us, but I just feel like for us, we have like jumped leaps and bounds ever since that information came in. You know what I mean? Like the people who have done it. And so just having a few people have done it has advanced us by leaps and bounds. So imagine, when it comes time for a lot of people to start, thinking about just us talking about our ancestors a little bit, and then another brother, brother Oyi's son, they did something with their ancestral healing. A lot of people have been but I saw his thing with the ancestral healing. So it's other people who have been doing ancestral healing. So imagine, you still just have very small groups of people doing these ancestral healings, and now you got like all of this information coming about where we're from and this and that by leaps and bounds. So much so that they keep, sending these distractions out that cannot, they're not even working. And so this is even longer, even though I went even shorter. This is just, I had a lot to say today, I guess. The spirit wanted to get a lot out there. So, I just hope that all of this makes sense. I'm not even going to pull from my other deck because, oh, yes, I will. No, 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 no. Very important. We're going to do a cosmic law. And I found my papers today. So let's see what we got here. We want to see what cosmic law goes along with this information that we're getting. What is the cosmic law? What's the cosmic law? What is the cosmic law? What is the cosmic law? All right. We got 18, which is 9. Y'all know that's my number. And this is the final nun, which is thought. Of course, these are my homemade cards. So let's see what that is. I actually found my papers. They were always, no, this is the wrong set. Hold on. They were here. It was just in a different pile of stuff. But this is definitely the wrong ones. Here we go. All right. So the final nun. Oh, it's the one that goes down. It's this one. Okay. This is going to make sense, you guys. So this symbol, first of all, like I said, it's 9. It's my number. It's the symbol means a sprouting seed, and or the picture description is a sprouting seed, and the letter means continue, air, or sun. And that's very interesting that it's the continuing on. It's like you're reaching back to press forward. And it's number 18, 16, 18. So it says, this cosmic law is thought. Thought is said to be the fastest and most swift of all things. It cannot be measured, it is so fast. It is the root of all things. First was the word, and the word was thought, and with the thought everything was created. Wow, this goes together. I remember I told y'all how I made these cards. This is amazing. Okay, so basically what you have here in this this particular cosmic law, number one is it's 19, which is completion, which is also the start, the beginning of a new cycle. So again, back to this, the sprouting seed is, you're planting the seed and you're going to bear the fruit of the seed and the leaves and whatever else. And so that starts with our thoughts. So we have to plant the seed that we want to reconnect our ancestors. Just that's just a confirmation of everything I said. As we plant the seeds of surrendering, of loving, of mysticism, of reconnecting with our ancestors, as we plant those seeds, it is literally going to come to all of our seeds are going to bear fruit. Let me just put it that way. And so we don't have to worry about, oh, is what we're doing going to bear fruit, this and that, so on and so forth. Everything we do is going to bear fruit. What we have to really focus in on is planting the right seeds. So like me deciding that, I want to leave this place better than I found it. That's planting a seed, and that can bear fruit. Now, planting the seed of, I don't like this place, I want to go. That's not a seed that can bear fruit because there's nothing coming off that tree. But the seed of, okay, I want to leave this place better than I found it. Boom, that's automatic. Seed is planted, fruit is going to bear. You know what I mean? And I feel like, again, this is all a process to train our brains how to think about things so that we don't waste times on things that we don't want, and we're able to stay in that creator mode, because the Most High doesn't think about what he doesn't want. He thinks about what he does want. So when he takes certain things out, certain people away, it's not because he's thinking about what he doesn't want. He's thinking about what he does want for us. And that requires for certain things to be removed. So I hope this was a good reading for everybody. Let's go ahead and, oh shoot, let's do our blessing of the Sephirot. And I'm going to try and get this video done today, maybe today or tomorrow. But I'm telling you guys, the I Ching and this Sephirot and this Kabbalah is basically all the same. It's just the Chinese version of the Kabbalah. I'm fairly certain, because you will see, and we're going to talk about that hopefully today or tomorrow. I just finished the book, and I'm like, yo, this is just like reading a book on the Kabbalah. There's not very much different to it. All right. So, blessing of the Sephirot. Blessed be the light beyond all being. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Keter. Blessed be the breathing of origination. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Chokma. Blessed be eternal wisdom. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Bina. Blessed be omniscient understanding. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Chesed. Blessed. No, Chesed. Blessed be perpetual compassion. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Gavora, blessed be almighty justice. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Tiferet, blessed be transcendent beauty. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Netzach, blessed be unceasing victory. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Had, blessed be surpassing glory. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Yesod, blessed be infallible foundation. Forever blessed be the mighty one. Malchut, blessed be all life throughout the kingdom. Forever blessed be the mighty one. All praise, glory, and honor be to the Most High, the King of kings, the Lord of lords, the great I am, loving kindness, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We thank you for allowing us to speak with the angels for a few minutes, and we would like to report that they have indeed given us a message that fulfilled the covenant. So please give them credit for all of their hard work. To the Holy Mother, we thank you for being with us. We thank you for guiding us. We thank you for walking with us down the path of life. We acknowledge our older, wiser brother Yahushai and the perfect example that he set. And of course, to the angels, you guys are doing a great job. We appreciate your hard work, dedication, and service to us and to the kingdom. Let God be praised in the beginning and the end. Who supplicates him, he will neither despise nor refuse. God above us, God before us, God possessing all things. May the Father of heaven grant us a portion of mercy. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Lo Olam Vayed. Blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom throughout eternity. Ha Rashaman Hu Yashazir Lanu Avodat Biet Hamikdash Limkoma Bimhira Biyamanu. Omen, 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 and Selah. May the merciful one restore unto us the service of his holy temple to its place speedily and in our days. Amen, 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 and Selah. To the spirits who are here with us, you're invited to go in peace. To my beloved viewers, you're invited to be at peace. And always remember, the Most High is your peace. Shalom, everyone. We'll see you for the reading tomorrow.